Hello, my name is Bartosz and I'm data engineer at VirtusLab. Today I will be presenting assuring quality as a testing in an Agile team. So, few words over the context for the presentation. I created this presentation with an Agile team in mind. So, testers and developers working hand in hand in the same team. Probably there will be some product owners or project managers, people managers also involved in some cooperation, and they will be considered part of the team to some degree in parts of this presentation. But the most important is that developers and testers are working together. They are not in separate departments, separate teams, or outsourced or somewhere else like that. Other thing that's contributing to the context is that some of the concept that will be introduced, like project lifecycle, will be more applicable, more common for big projects. So it should be fairly universally applicable to small ones too. That being said, I created it mostly thinking about big projects, potentially with some legacy involved. Projects in which you are thinking about some additional tooling or some test environment that it takes a little bit more work to prepare for, and they are more long-term ones, so they are a little bit more difficult to predict. Few words regarding general remarks is that this presentation is a certain point of view, and not everything here will be applicable or similar to what you experience in your companies. The role of test lead differs between companies. Sometimes it's more similar to tech lead role, sometimes it's more similar to manager, and sometimes basically senior tester. So keep in mind that not everything will be one-to-one applicable to your situations. That being said, I hope that parts of the presentation you will find useful and applicable, so you can improve your own comfort of working, and you can support your test lead, or you can yourself grow as a tester in your company. And one small remark that I was mostly an automation tester, so this presentation is made with this experience, mostly like influencing it. That being said, it's fairly universal. There will be only few spots in which this automation will be more visible, but overall it's applicable universally to manual and automation tester. So let's go right to it. First, for agenda, we will define the test tree law. So we have a foundation to build upon for the rest of the presentation. Then there will be a division of responsibilities. We'll split into two groups, so it will be easier to grasp the concept and focus on the details of those groups. Then I will go through cycle of the project and the testing activities involved within it. And through it, I will try to present the technical aspects of the role. Then we'll go to the aspects of leadership, and in this I will divide the leadership part into three pieces, and I will describe each group with their responsibilities that are most, let's say, complex or surprising or important. And after that, there will be a Q&A on which you will be able to ask some questions. It may happen at the end of the event. So let's go right to it, to the definition of a test lead. When preparing this presentation, I sit down and I try to put down on paper who is test lead for me. It has quite a broad spectrum of responsibilities. It's first non-technical role on people's path when they are growing as testers. So it may be a bit difficult. I set it for the definition up visible on the slide. So test lead for me is a person responsible for testing effort in the project, supporting the growth of testers, and interfacing with stakeholders to transform business expectations into engineering deliverables. So let's try to maybe split it a little bit more to have an easier, say, look on what test lead actually is and what it involves. Test lead by the name itself is divided into two pieces. There's a tester part and leader part. Tester part encapsulates technical aspects of the role, in which you'll be basically using your technical knowledge to provide technical support, execute testing activities throughout the lifecycle of the project. You will have to evaluate the tests or decide on test approaches, test strategies, stuff like this. On the leader part, you will be expected to make decisions, create plans, and you will have three major directions in which you will have to exercise your leadership skills, which is project, tester, and customer. And I will go to this division later on without the project, but let's first tackle the technical side. So tester part of a test lead. I will do this in the example of a cycle of the project. This is just my point of view. This is a sample of how it can look like. It probably differs from yours because it's very varying a lot between the companies and even projects sometimes within the same one. So let's just use this as an example and try to provide certain ideas, central concepts based on this one. So we have a feasibility phase. On the feasibility phase, you are deciding, can you do this project? And there will be few questions coming with it. And as a test lead, you will have to provide an answer to them. So what kind of question can you be asked or ask yourself during feasibility phase? You can be asked, what are the requirements? This source of requirement can be customer, can be like your technical capabilities as a company. And you will gather all of this. And when you will turn it into engineering executable tasks, you will get a scope. You will have particular tasks that like implement this kind of class, use this cloud service to do something, introduce this service. When you will estimate those tasks and you will sum all this estimation of the scope, you will get engineering effort. And this will be important step because you will have one side of the balance of feasibility. You will have what it takes to make this project, how much manpower, engineering hours, whatever else measurement unit you choose, it's necessary to execute this project. Then you will have to think from the perspective of your resources. So how much testers do you have? What is like, is this sickness season? Is this holiday season? Do people have vacation? Do we have enough people to even perform this, execute this project? When you will have this and you will decide on feasibility, then you go to the planning, and the questions there are, what is the project roadmap? What are the sequences of sub-features that should be executed? So you will try to figure out what are the risks. Are we so packed that if anyone gets sick, we are unlikely to finish on time? Maybe there are some investigations that are missing and we are not sure if certain aspects of the requirement are feasible. Can we actually like do this way that we planned? There are some risks. You will try to assess those risks and mitigate whatever is possible, but not everything will be. So you will identify the risk and they will influence your chances of executing the project successfully and on time with the parameters you get. You will also identify dependencies because maybe there are multiple teams, so there are dependencies between the teams. Maybe there are dependencies between the sub-features, so there is a sequence that has to be done. So this kind of thinking will be necessary to create the project roadmap and evaluate the approach that you want to take about the risk and dependencies. Then we'll go to the infrastructure and architecture. This could vary. This sometimes it's connected with planning, but this is basically a step that I expanded, let's say, excluded from planning because it can be easily overlooked, but it can have devastating consequences if done incorrectly. In this step, you want to prepare the test environments. You want to make sure that tools are there. You want to make sure that the libraries that you are required to use to test are in place. You investigated what are those, you know which one to use, you know preferably how to use them. They are integrated with your coding ecosystem. All of this is necessary, and to be able to assure that testing will be fairly smooth, you have to make sure the test environment is prepared before you will start implementing tests. After this phase, you should be able to sit down and start doing the tests. If you skip this phase or something will not be as diligently done as it should be, the delays are likely to happen. Sometimes, for example, you have to do a hardware test environment and can take a lot of time. So after this, you should be able to start writing tests. After that, we are going to the execution phase, so implementation testing. And within this phase, you will be asked frequently, is the project on track? You will be asking this question, you will be asked this question, you will hear it a lot. This is very important and encapsulates all the issues that can happen. It encapsulates the question, are we following the plan? Do we have to adapt the plan? Are there new change requests? Is the plan that we agreed upon previously accurate and still valid? What do we have to do to mitigate new coming risks, new issues that are appearing? Are we going to be successful? Are we going to meet the deadline, the expectations from us? When the project will be done, we are in the delivery phase, and this is the time when you want to ask yourself mostly the one question, which is customer satisfied? Did we meet the requirement? Did we meet their expectations? What could be done better? And this is important for growth, for you as a test lead, for your testers, for the team, for the company, because we have to also learn how to meet customers' needs, and this step is important for the future and a little bit of the current project. We have to learn based on what happened, and this will be also your role. So I try to grasp the gist of responsibilities for each of those phases, and basically that's how it looks. That in feasibility you will be mostly gathering requirements, in planning you will be creating a plan, in infrastructure and architecture you will be preparing tools and environments, in implementation and testing you will be executing plan and monitoring, and in delivery you will be reporting results and analyzing them. This encapsulates the technical aspects of test lead. Now let's try to go back to the definition of a test lead that we created as a foundation for the presentation, and let's try to figure out what are the 3 aspects of leadership that are hidden there. I will read it once more. Test lead is a person responsible for testing efforts in the project, supporting the growth of testers, and interfacing with stakeholders to transform business expectations into engineering deliverables. So from this definition, we can get 3 major aspects of leadership, and let's try to extract them. So we have a project, so testing effort in the project. We have testers, which is the growth of them. And we have customers, which is interfacing with stakeholders. I created those groups, and I assigned certain responsibilities to them, and we'll just go one by one and describe each of them, trying to point out, let's say, what are the issues with them and what is hidden behind them. So let's start with the project. Project part has like 4 major responsibilities. First one is the most commonly known, but also a little bit misunderstood. So when you think that someone's a leader, you're thinking that they are making decisions, and you're right, that they have final word, that it's up to them what will be the chosen solution. The difficult aspect of it is that it's not about making decision, it's about making team agree to this decision. The point is not to create make decisions as a dictator. The point is to make decisions as a team, take people's input. There may be few contradicting ideas, solutions, and we'll have to decide on one. And someone will not be happy. Someone will think that this is not the correct solution, this is not optimal solution. But the important thing is that you have to convince the team that this is the decision we are making, this is the right decision. And even if not everyone are happy about this, everyone should agree that this is the decision we are taking, and we'll make the best effort to make this solution work. It's important that everyone will be on board with this decision, and not everyone has to agree that this is the best one, but everyone has to accept that this is the decision. Second responsibility for the project would be assuring that tests are developed in parallel with the feature. This is partially coming out of the Agile approach, that what we are delivering should be tested. It's quite common that tests are falling behind with the work. So we are developing features. It's easy to get carried away because we have less blockers than testers. So we can create more features and we can just move on. The problem that happens is that it desynchronizes the team. It creates more pressure on testers, and we are delivering new features without testing all at once. So we are not certain if what we are doing is of a high quality. And to assure the high quality, which is basically the subject of this talk, we have to make sure that we are iteratively delivering a good quality of feature. It will be difficult, but to synchronize testers and developers, but it's important. It's a difficult job in the sense that not everyone are interested in all the tasks that can pop out in the, say, testing side, but we have to learn how to cooperate, and maybe developers can provide some support with coding, maybe they can help with some infrastructure, or just basically write some tests with us as testers. So it will be important to convince them. And what is the step to convince them? And this is the third responsibility. We have to make sure that everyone is responsible for quality. There's a common misconception, a little bit of a stigma, let's say, on testers and QAs, that because they have quality in their role name, or they have tests in the position description, it means that they are responsible for the quality. They are responsible for the quality, and this is true, but they are not solely responsible. Everyone are responsible. We cannot, with just tests, assure the quality. Developers have to deliver high quality of a code. We as testers have to create good tests that will be verifying the most important features, and there will be good test suite to prove that we did a good job, and there is not much bugs or not at all, and that we are going the right direction. Project managers are also responsible for quality. They have to provide us with the budget for tools or trainings, whatever else is necessary to make sure that we have good quality. Managers have to provide enough time and enough resources to provide good tests. We need people, we need engineers, we need tools to create measures that will assure high quality of a product. So everyone should be responsible for quality, and it's your role as a test lead to create and cultivate this mindset. It's very difficult. It's against old approach of a waterfall where you had testing department completely separated, and they were solely responsible. They felt solely responsible for quality. This is not agile to do. It's important to get to the mindset when everyone is responsible for quality and feels responsible for quality. The last aspect of leader for the project is understanding developers' needs. This is important but only like, let's say, moderately. This is not crucial to do, but it helps with team building, which is one of your roles as a test lead. Understanding developers' needs, like for example, that they would like testing pipelines on Jenkins that will allow them to easily verify some basic functionalities of a feature, it's something that is like common. And if we will be understanding those needs, developers inevitably will start understanding our needs. We will start cooperating better. We'll understand that each of us has certain roles and certain expectations, certain problems, and it gets the communication and the cooperation much closer, which is extremely beneficial. It boosts effectiveness, efficiency of the team, and overall quality of work, as in comfort, as in satisfaction of your work. So I recommend putting some effort into this, understanding the development side, and trying to accommodate their needs too. Even though technically you're test lead, but it means that you are also responsible for the project and for developers, and they're responsible for providing them with the tools that they need. Leaders for the testers. This has two major aspects. And I would say this is the most neglected, the most surprising side aspect of a leadership in a test lead. Managing exhaustion of testers is a responsibility that is summing up preventing burnout. What it means, when we are ending the project, or at the time of the project, but hopefully it happens mostly at the end of it, we are sometimes going to fall behind. There is a tendency for testing to be falling behind, because of the nature of the tests, that they are sometimes only feasible or easier to do later on, and they are also in a sequence, they have to be run at the end anyway. So even in bug fixing, developers will fix bugs, but then we as testers have to verify that this bug has been fixed. So even in the smallest and like latest part, we are still after that as testers. So there will be a tendency for us to be falling behind and feeling the pressure that, oh my God, we have to like put some additional hours, let's do some overtime, let's work weekends, let's do some more, let's take more on our plate than we can chew. And it's important as a test lead to prevent this. It's important that you as a test lead will be looking out for the sign of burnout, that you will be looking out for people trying to like take more on their plate than the like statistic and history say that they can actually process, because it will create the pressure, it will burn them out, they will feel tired, they will feel exhausted, they will feel unhappy, their efficiency will drop this sprint, next one, maybe next PI or next project, and the result may be that they will want to drop the project, they want to drop the company, and maybe even industry altogether. It's your responsibility as test lead to look out for signs of, let's say, low quality of work in sense of comfort for testers and developers too, but you are mostly responsible for testers, and making sure that you are taking preventive actions, not allowing engineers to take too much work, so we can execute the project, but we are not tiring ourselves to the ground. I like to say, and it's like, I would say, nice summary for this aspect, that the project is only successful you can do the next one. And with that, I will leave this responsibility. So let's talk a little bit about the mentoring with the other part. Mentoring is about sharing your knowledge, and it's doing it by your own experience. You're sharing your own experience to some particular person or a group of people. The way it works is that it's supposed to end. It's goal oriented. It's supposed to aim for sharing knowledge about one particular skill, aspect, or whatever else. You're passing this knowledge, and then the mentee should move on to next expert to get best knowledge about some other subject from them. So for example, if I want to learn about Python, I will ask my mentor to go through Python book. We can go through some project. We can discuss them. I will get their experience from their practical hands-on experience. And then I should finish this mentorship with this person and find, maybe I want to exercise my soft skills, and I will find expert in soft skills somewhere else. It can be the same mentor, but it's unlikely that there will be a person that is so great in everything that they will match exactly your gaps. So mentoring it's not meant to last for like 10 years or something like this. It's meant to end. It's goal oriented. So this is the biggest take on the mentoring part. It's extremely valuable. It's good for your mentees, but also for yourself as a mentor. It helps you grow your soft skills, learn how to approach different personalities. I highly recommend trying yourself out in mentoring. So the last aspect is leader for customer. This is the most straightforward one. I divide it into like planning tasks and resources and analyzing the big picture. So we'll be requested to prepare the plans, to talk with the customer about the deadlines and how it affects the quality, what particular features can be done in what time. You'll be requested to understand the customer, and it's logical, but maybe difficult. Depends on customers. Sometimes it will be easy because they are like the same. They are compatible personality, but it will not always be the case, and this is something that will take some practice. The second part is analyzing the big picture, and this is about understanding in what context your feature project will be used. So I have an application, but what other application is going to be used with? What are the most common use cases for it? How user is going to think about this, what they want to do about this, what is the system in which it will be working. All of these questions you should ask yourself, you should understand this, because then it will let you to prioritize the most critical aspects of the project, and it will help you advise customer with what else should be done, what other features should be put in place, maybe what other requirements should we add, so that the project is the most successful and more satisfying. The customer gets what they want, not what they requested. So it will be important for you to understand the customer's needs, understand the project, and advise the customer, because their success, the project success is also your success. So you will try to be leader for the customer, as in advising them, as in helping them. This is the last aspect that I want to talk about. There will be a Q&A at the end of the event. So hope to see you there, and we can discuss some parts of the presentation. Maybe you have some questions and try to answer them to the best of my abilities. So thank you so much. See you there.